Ooh, this is going to be a bit wonky this week, folks. My phone is on like 3%, but I need to get this done. So it's going off at a bit of a weird angle, so I'll sit at an angle to make it not look so bad. So this is the 10th. This is the 10th week of the Puppy Progress Diary. It is the 10th week I've had Cali in my life. 10 weeks. That doesn't feel real. That doesn't feel right. It feels like she's been here forever, but it feels like she hasn't been here long enough. It's really weird. 10 weeks. What was life before Cali? She's actually in her crate right now, by her own choice. The crate door is wide open. She's just tired. We officially started back to work today, so that was a lot of excitement. So she's in her crate. You may hear a loud huff or snore every so often. That's just her. She's a loud sleeper. Thankfully, whenever I'm out sleeping, I don't hear anything really. So this is really annoying me. So I'm gonna try and because the camera's there. It's down low. So I have to try and. That's slightly better. Okay. I was just annoying me. So what did we do this week? Apart from start back to work today at the grooming salon, we really didn't do much because I still had the week off this last week sort of time. So we've been going on quite a few walks, doing a lot more lead training. She's great in the lead. I'm just reinforcing it big time because this is the time and age to do it. Because we haven't been out and about in really public areas, we haven't been menaced by randomers, which is lovely. That's the one benefit about being in the country. You get ambushed far less. But if you do, it's pretty bad. It's normally an off-lead dog. But we haven't experienced that yet, because I know it will happen, and it'll probably be a crazy Jack Russell. I can guarantee that. She saw chickens for the first time. That's a thing that happened. Chickens. So where I live, my house is, there aren't any chickens around us because it's all sort of very small housing estates and stuff like that. But if I walk, it's not even half a mile. I know it's like 10 minutes that way outside. It's down across the road and then down a wee country road. It's just known as the walk itself is just called the Straits to us because the housing estate you pass is called the Straits, so the whole walk is just called the Straits. It's a good little loop, but I'm doing less than half of it because I don't want to hurt her. So we're doing 10 minutes there, 10 minutes back, and that's it. For one walk because I like I said, I don't want to hurt her. But at the point where we turn, it's sort of I use markers to know where I'm going and how far to go and stuff like that. So the end marker is this little house. It's a little bungalow with a white wall and a blue top on the wall. It used to have a donkey, so in my family it's just called the donkey house. The donkey was not in the house, the donkey was in the field. But it's just called the donkey house. The donkey is now passed, unfortunately, but it has been replaced by some very loud chickens. So she experienced chickens. They were at a distance. She just heard them. She couldn't see them, but they were loud. But she didn't care. She was just intrigued by the sound they made. And what else did she hear? She heard a car backfiring. The exhaust, there was a big bang from a car, basically. It took her by surprise, but she wasn't scared of it. She jumped, because I jumped. Everyone on the street jumped. But she wasn't bothered by it. It was just that's there. Which I was quite pleased about. So I'm doing something right with sounds. And she's been in very close proximity to the Hoover in our house. So everything's fine with that. She doesn't really care about the Hoover. It's there. It makes a noise. She'd rather be away from... Well, she wouldn't be cuddling it, but she doesn't care about it. You know, she'd rather sort of be away from it, but she's not scared of it. She just doesn't want to be on it, which is fine, because to be honest, it is a loud, annoying noise. I don't feel like it's deadly important that she loves the Hoover, but what I'm aiming for is that she's fine with the Hoover. It can come out and she doesn't bolt, which is what is happening. You know, she's totally fine with it coming out, it's starting, and she just potters around the house. You know, she doesn't care. As long as I'm there, everything's fine, and there's food there, everything's peachy. I'm trying to think of what we did. We really didn't do much this week because I was off. So it was sort of a lot of house training, a bit of good bit of lead walking, and we've been, here's a good subject, teething today this week. She's been teething. It's scary because that's like, to me, that's the marker that she's actually growing up, which I don't like. I don't like it. My baby's growing up and I'm not keen on it. I wish she could stay the way. She's still an amazing dog and I love her to bits and I want her to grow up big and healthy, but at the same time I don't want her to grow up. I want her to be healthy, but I don't want her to grow up. I like my small Cali. I don't like it. I'm gonna have to let her grow up, but I don't. It's weird. It's so weird. So she's been teething. Dear lover, she's been really, really good about it, actually. I expected her to be really groggy and grumpy and chewing everything in sight, but she hasn't been. I expected my slippers or my dad's slippers or, you know, whatever is lying on the ground to become a target. But she's been really good. Whenever I noticed something was off was whenever she was chewing her rubbery toys a lot more. So that's the Kongs and stuff like that. Her wee Kong bone. It was empty. There was nothing in it. In fact, it had been cleaned. So there was no food in it whatsoever. There's probably still a scent of food, but there was no food in it, and she usually just ignores them once they're empty. But she was just chewing in it, you know, just gnawing at it. Not destroying the toy, just giving it a really good squeeze and stuff like that. So, that's whenever I tweaked that something might be up. So I then opened her mouth and checked, because we do our vet check stuff. She's fine with me touching all over, including poking around in her mouth, which is an absolute godsend, because the amount of fur she eats at work is insane. So I'm in and out of her mouth constantly, fishing out chunks of fluff. I don't know how to stop that. I'm hoping it's a puppy thing. Otherwise, I'm kind of screwed. I don't know, what normal dog eats dog fur? I mean, she's probably eaten half a dog today. You know, you sort of know whenever she's about to do it, because you don't see her beside you, and then you just see her walking around the table, sort of hoovering it all up. But what was I actually saying? Mouth, poking in her mouth. So I actually took a proper look in her mouth, and right enough, I sort of just, none of them were out whenever I first checked, so I just put my nail to one of them, just to see if there was a bit of give, and right enough, it did properly give a wobble. And then I tested some of the others. Her whole mouth was just wobbling. I felt so sorry for her. So I texted the all-knowing Carol to see if there was any way I could possibly alleviate, give her a bit of relief, because I presume, I don't know for certain, but I presume teething for a puppy is quite similar to teething for a baby. So it's going to be quite sore, they're going to be a bit groggy, you know, it's not a very pleasant experience. I mean, to probably us adults, it's like, you know, a really bad toothache or something like that. So Carol suggested that I ripped up some either an old t-shirt or what I used was an old pillowcase that we didn't need anymore. So I cut it up into shreds, and I don't have one with me because they're in the freezer, which I'll explain in a minute. Ripped them into shreds and plaited them, and then tied knots in each end. So it's basically a tug toy. But then what I did, according of what Cal recommended, I soaked them in water and then put them in the freezer. So this is like an ice pack chew for her then, and she has been loving them. Absolutely, I mean, she gets excited. If I go to the freezer and get one out, she's doing spinny dances. She loves them. Now, it's a bit of a nuisance whenever they start to defrost, because then she might as well mop the floor with them. But otherwise, it's been really giving her a good bit of relief. What else did I do for her teeth? It's all been sort of very, very ice-related things, so everything's been frozen. There was another friend that recommended that I gave her a carrot to chew, so I gave her half a carrot, which she loved. There were bits of orange all over her bed and all over her kitchen floor, but she liked that. She's a foodie dog. She likes everything. I saw on Facebook, as you do, that ice cubes, well, not an actual ice cube, but if you freeze like a Kong mixture, that can really help as well. So I mixed up some baby food, some squeezy cheese, and I put some blueberries in it, because she loves blueberries, and then put them in little ice cube trays. And I thought, oh, that'll be a really nice treat for her. So I put them in the freezer, let them freeze for a couple of hours, and then brought them out. I finally got them out of the ice cube tray thing. I can't speak tonight. Got them out eventually. Dog food takes forever to get out of an ice cube tray. It's just letting you know you might be better getting a silicone one rather than the plastic one that I got, because I nearly broke the plastic one. So I made that up, got them out, and gave her one. Well, I learned the hard way that she might need something slightly bigger, because she swallowed it whole. She didn't chew it. She gulped it. And I'm sitting there freaking out. She's just swallowed, I mean, probably that height, by about that width, or length even, of ice, basically. And I'm sitting there. I googled, can dogs get brain freeze? She was fine after it, but I didn't know what to do. So, because I had, at this stage, I had about another 11 more, because I think it was about 12 ice cubes in one wee tray. So I had 11 more of these things to use up, and it's not normal ice, it's dog food frozen, so I sort of have to use it for the dog somehow. So I didn't want to chance it giving her again, so I just held it, and my fingers were frozen off, but I just held it and let her lick it, which was sort of, I wanted her to lick it on the floor, have a bit of fun with it, but I had to hold it because she swallowed it whole. And once it got down to a sort of a decent size, where I thought, if she does swallow that won't cause a problem, it'll just melt away. I let it enter, just gave it to her, and let her do what she wanted with it. And again, she didn't even push it around her mouth. It just went straight down her neck. I don't know why she does that. It's really annoying, but I've learned the hard way, and now there's an Amazon order coming with a donut mold. So good luck swallowing that whole. And it's silicone, which will be safer to get out and not have like shards of plastic. I can't think of anything else that's really happened. Apart from the teething thing, so I don't know how long teething lasts. But she's been a real sport about it. She's been really, really good. She's just been favouring her rubbery toys a lot more. And even at work we have a toy crate for her to hook in and out of if she wishes. And there's one toy, it's like a rubber snake. I don't know what website you can get it from. I presume you can get it on Amazon, but it's a big long wiggly rubber snake. It's got a split on what it would be its belly. It's got a split the whole way down, and you can like stuff it with pasty foods and stuff like that. And it's got a squeaker in its head, which gave me a complete heart attack one day. I will explain that in a minute. That's another story that actually happened. But you can fill it up with pasty foods and stuff like that as well. But I haven't bothered because it's not my toy, it's my boss's toy, but she uses it. She's sort of just been going at that and just chewing it. Well, not shredding it, but just opening and closing her mouth, just sort of pulsing on it, just giving it a good gnaw. And we didn't know there was a squeaker in it until I stood on it. So, as most of you know, if you've been following these videos, you know I'm a dog groomer by day and a dog trainer by night, and Saturdays. But I was walking around the table grooming a dog, everything was fine, and Cali had got out this toy. I didn't know because my back was to her, and I was focused on the dog, grooming it, and I think I'd stepped back to check my work, to see if the lines were right in the dog and stuff like that. That's just my artistic eye. You can even call it art. OCD probably more than art. So I stepped back to check the dog, and there was this almighty squeal, and I jumped out of my skin. My heart stopped beating because I thought this was my dog. I thought I had stepped on her paw or tail so hard that she had screamed for living daylights. And I'm sitting there feeling the colour drain out of my face. I turn around and there's this snake thing. And Callie just lying so innocently in her bed, knowing fine well she'd just given her mummy a heart attack. So if you do get one of these rubbery snakes, or if you do have one, they in fact do have a squeaker in the head, and please don't stand on it because you will jump out of your skin. Yeah, that was a heart attack and a half. So it hasn't happened again. I learned the hard way. But no more squeaky snakes. Hasn't been really much else. Oh, I have something to show you. Well, if you can call it something, it's really basic. It's an egg box. It's slightly destroyed because she carried it off tonight and gnawed it. I turned my back for 5 minutes and everything went silent, which I don't trust. So I turned around, tried to find my dog. Dog was nowhere to be seen. So I started walking around the house because my bedroom door was open, and I thought maybe she'd walked out, or maybe she needed to pee or something and gone to the door. So I was walking around the house, having a look for her, and then I come back into my room, and here she is with this in her crate, chewing it sort of to bits. So it now has half a wee closey flap thing. I don't know what that's called. But what I've been using this for is for her kibble. It's different. So I train and give her most of her food from her training. But every so often I will give some of it to her in a food toy. So that will either be her Kong wobbler, which I haven't been using because she's teething and I'm actually scared of her knocking out her teeth, because it's hard plastic and she's quite rough with it. So I've been using a little rubber food ball thing, so it just bounces off everything. It's nice and soft. So I've been using that for this week for her food rolly toys. And then I found on Facebook that you can use egg boxes. So as you can see, they have the proper little dips where all the eggs go. And you can fill them up with the kibble, and that works quite well. So what I did was I filled it up with a little bit of her kibble, and then just closed it over and just set it in front of her. And once she knows there's a food smell, she goes full, she goes for it. There's no point in sort of giving her food and not expecting her to go for it. There's a guarantee she will most definitely go for it if she smells food. And she had a blast with it until she ate it. So I now have to get another egg box. I love sort of finding different ways to feed dogs. I think it's going to become a bad addiction. And I've also ordered another thing online. Again, it's getting to a really unhealthy addiction. I have to be careful. So I've got the egg box, I've got the Kong wobbler, and I've got the little rubber ball that she loves as well. And I've ordered a toy called a Tug-a-Jug. I don't know what company it's by because it hasn't arrived and I can't show you, but hopefully it'll be here for next week. But it is basically a plastic jug thing. And you unscrew the bottom, pour in the kibble and screw the bottom back on. And it's got a rope toy inside it. So it's hard to describe because I don't actually have one and I can't show you, so I'm trying to make it seem like I have one. So it's got a rope toy inside it. They're like half in and half out. And then it's got a ball on the rope toy. I'd draw one for you, but I'm terrible at drawing. So the ball part is on top of the top of the jug. So like this is the top, the spout of the jug, and then there's this ball on a rope toy on top of the spout. And this is it's another way of just making them think. I've heard sort of mixed reviews about it. Some dogs absolutely love it and figure it out really quickly, and then some dogs get quite frustrated and give up. I reckon for her, if she realizes there's food in it, she will try her hardest. She might bark at it. That's her sort of sign of frustration. She'll bark at it. But I sort of think she'll probably go for it. Plus the plastic is sort of clear, so she'll be able to see that there's food in it. So I'll actually film that to see if it goes well. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think I'm looking forward to it more than she is. She doesn't know what's coming. I'm excited for it though, and that's the main thing. But that's it really. I'm surprised she hasn't made an appearance. Oh my goodness. She's clean out upside down in her crate. So that's it really for this week. 10 weeks of Cali being here. 10 weeks. It doesn't feel real. I remember the first day she came home, I couldn't believe I had a dog. I was sitting there in the kitchen with her on my lap, and she's about this size. I'm sitting there like, I have a dog. I have a dog. Oh my goodness, I have a dog. That sudden realization is like, this is real. This is my dog. I have to take care of this. I love her to bits. Everyone loves her. It's hard not to love her. Noises? She's very tired. So that's it really for this week. I don't know what my hair is doing. Anyway, there we go, sorry. But that's it really. We haven't done very much unusual or interesting things apart from sort of different foodie things and then other sounds out and about. But hopefully there'll be a bit more to fill you up on next week. And we will see you in the next video. Bye!